This is Brandon with Fleet Feet, and today we are reviewing a trail shoe, and not just any trail shoe, but a race day trail shoe from HOKA, the HOKA Tecton X 3. The HOKA Tecton X3 is an exciting shoe, and it has a pretty fun story to tell with it. And that is because one of the designers and people who assisted on creating this shoe was no other than HOKA's own Jim Walmsley, a ultra trail runner who's not only won Western States once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times, including this past year's. Now, for those of you who don't know what Western States is, it is basically the Boston Marathon for trail racing. So it is this old historic race that you do have to qualify for. There is a lottery system to get into it. It is in Lake Tahoe, and then it goes through all the way to Auburn. Not only did we get our hands on the Tecton X3, but we did get the opportunity to see the Tecton X 2.5, which is a middle prototype version between the 2 and the 3. HOKA was actually able to support many of Fleet Feet store owners to come out and be part of the experience, go hike all the way up to the escarpment, go cheer everybody on, and then go to Forest Hill, go to Rucky Trucky, and of course at the finish line. So we had an incredible, fun, packed weekend, but it was all leading up to this moment for the design of the HOKA Tecton X 3. For most of our reviews, we are traditionally able to share multiple opinions and perspectives and reviews on a shoe, but I'm the only one who was actually able to get their hands on this coveted trail race day shoe. So you'll be hearing from me specifically and my perspective and my opinions and thoughts. So before we go any further, please make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, and let's dive in. Now, let's start with the upper. The first thing that you're gonna notice about this shoe that really stands out from the Tecton X2 to the 3rd model is that it has this gaiter system at the top, which is a new addition. And the gaiter attachment was one of the areas that I was actually a little bit more worried about the shoe. Is this gonna fit around my ankle well? Is it gonna be hard to put this shoe on? Is it gonna be annoying and cause a lot of friction issues? But it was also the area that I was most excited about, and that proved to be the case. It actually is the most protective area of the shoe. It adds some more support and stability around the ankle. It is very comfortable and accommodating, so I had no issues with the fit with the gaiter system. It actually protected me from any of the external elements, whether it was mud or rocks or dirt getting inside of my shoe. So that was something that I really loved about the gaiter system. This upper is made up of what HOKA is calling a Matryx upper, which is a quick drying upper. So you're not gonna get any waterlogging in the shoe, and it is going to be very breathable. Overall, I found that the shoe did fit true to size, and HOKA did decide to intentionally make the toe box a little bit wider and bigger, so that way when you're going downhill, and this was from my experience, when I was running downhill and going fast in these shoes, I was able to run in them without having any blisters or any hot spots or areas of friction or pain, because there was ample room in the toe box and my foot was not jamming against the top of the shoe. But if you want to make sure whether this shoe is going to fit and work well for you, I understand with a gaiter system and for longer trail racing, especially if you are an ultra runner, you're going to want to make sure that the fit of this shoe is exactly dialed in the way that you want it. So you can go into your local Fleet Feet store, you can get your foot scanned, you can go through the Fit ID process, you can go through the outfitter experience, and you can try this shoe on for yourself and figure out whether it's gonna fit best for you. And now let's move on to the midsole. The midsole is made up of a dual density PEBA midsole, and this is something that we've seen in the past in other race day shoes, even from HOKA. With this midsole, especially it being PEBA, it feels like a very fast race day, almost like a super shoe. It had that fast and energetic feeling toward it, and I definitely found that when I was on my runs, it was just pushing me forward, which is something I really loved about it. In this midsole, there is actually a dual carbon plated system with winglets in it. So there's actually 2 carbon plates, one on the left side and one on the right side of the shoe, and they both sort of act similar to that of a suspension system for a car. So when it's going over uneven terrain, If one side is just a little bit more uneven than the other, it acts similar to that of suspension system, and it is able to keep you stable and then propulse you forward. And with the winglets from the carbon fiber plate, you can actually see the exposed plate on each side of the shoe. It's just gonna add a little bit of extra stability and cradling, so that way when you're going through more uneven terrain or more technical terrain, your shoe is gonna stay locked in and stable the entire time. This shoe does have a meta rocker system, something that we're not only seeing in the trail side, but on the road side as well in a lot of HOKA's high performance running shoes. And the meta rocker system is just going to be that nice rocker geometry that we've been seeing in a lot of HOKA shoes that's just gonna have that nice smooth ride to push you forward. The drop of this shoe comes in at 5 millimeters with 40 millimeters of stack in the heel and 35 in the toe. With 40 millimeters of stack, that is a lot of foam underfoot, which is going to add a little bit more protection and shock absorption, especially for going longer distances and for longer miles. Let's move on to the outsole. The outsole is made up of a Vibram megagrip light base, which is going to be a less aggressive version than we've seen in a few other models of Vibram. Vibram outsole, as we know, is one of the best outsole rubber tractions in the game, especially for trail shoes. And these lugs are 4 millimeters, which means that they are not as aggressive as some of the other lugs that we've seen in other trail shoes. But overall, from a durability standpoint and traction standpoint, I really didn't have any issues. Let's move on to the ride and performance. I actually took this one out on an urban run, walk, trail run through the city. I was able to get 11 miles in this shoe, and I gotta say, it was a ton of fun. And it actually convinced me that this would be a great road to trail option because of its smaller lugs and just a very nice aggressive feel similar to that of a road shoe. And the third model of the shoe is just as great, if not better, than the previous models. I've said it in the past and I'll say it again, the HOKA Tecton X was my favorite trail shoe and race day shoe of all time, but I think the Tecton X3 has now overtaken that with the PEBA foam and the dual carbon plate system and the outsole that is a little bit less aggressive at 4 millimeters. I found that this shoe was definitely best for a lot of those buffed out West Coast trails. This isn't gonna be a shoe that you're gonna wanna take out for your more technical terrain or terrain that is more rocky and rooty. I would definitely stick this one to faster fire roads or some more buffed out or smooth trail. And honestly, when I was running in this shoe and picking up the pace, the gaiter and the overall upper just gave me a ton of confidence. I could run fast in this shoe without worrying about any mud or rock or sticks or dirt getting in the shoe or being a deterrence on my run. Let's move on to some stats. The weight of this shoe comes in at 10 ounces or 283 grams. And the price of this shoe comes in at $275. Now, shoes similar in price to this will be the Nike Ultrafly at $260 and the Ultra Mont Blanc Carbon Trail also at $260. If $275 is a lot for you, then you can absolutely get a similar feel in the Tecton X1 and the two on sale right now at fleetfeet.com for anywhere between $150 to $180. And if you want to check this shoe out for yourself, learn more about it or other HOKA shoes in general, you can also check out our blog where all of our other reviewers are contributing. But for now, what other videos do you want to see next? Drop them in the comments below. And if you want to stick around and hear more about other HOKA reviews, you can go check out our review of the HOKA Skyward X.